I knew about Bitcoin back in 2016 at Tony's Platinum Partners Financial Mastery, right? So guess what price Bitcoin was then? Anybody want to raise your hand? Sorry?
I read your document. You said $500.
Yes, it was $500, right? And of course, Barry Silbert was talking about that, and also there were many different, financial gurus, including like Poor Tudor Jones and all these financial gurus. And I actually did not do anything back then until it was $1,700 per Bitcoin in end of 2017, right? And then you guys know what happened, right? Like it went from 2,100 and went back to 3,500 afterwards, right? So because I actually have a brother in Vancouver, he is a computer science geek, right? So he actually mines Bitcoin. And he has explained a lot of the nuances to me about like why this is worth investing into. And I got like really into it. I watched a lot of YouTube videos, and I actually bought most of my Bitcoin when it was 3,500. So so now the price is already up to 3,500, right? So it has gone up a lot. So let me just show you like why Bitcoin. So I guess some of you are interested in Bitcoin, maybe for the same reason that I did too. I personally think cryptocurrency is the Noah's Ark. As all of you know that, the printing press is up again, okay? Actually, Joe Biden just announced 1.9 trillion US dollars to be printed, right? To, rescue the, the market. And, but the US debt is like getting to 27 trillion already. And you've heard about what Robert Kiyosaki has been saying all along, like since 1971, when the gold standard was depacked from the US dollar, that, I mean, he thinks that the dollar is, it's not real money, it's like fake money. Fiat money is fake money is what he says, right? So, and do you guys remember what happened in 2008? Anyone? It was the financial crisis, right? And since then, it was like quantitative easing, which means money printing for the fourth time already. And now it's like, we're now in 2021. And so imagine like what happened in 2008, like was that big. Now it's like, if you look at this chart here, we are way over that right now. So in layman terms, what that means is like if your money is like the analogy is equivalent to a glass of really expensive whiskey. If you pour like 4 glasses of ice into it, what happens?
Dilutes it.
It's not whiskey anymore, right?
It's all watered down.
Yeah, exactly, right?
We're all on mute, I think.
Yes.
I think Elaine wants some interaction.
It's not whiskey anymore.
Thank you, Sharon. So what does that mean to you, right? Historically, if you look at a lot of money historians, every time a government prints money like this, it's gonna end up bad, right? We're gonna go into hyperinflation. That means like, all all the products that you buy, everything's gonna be so expensive. I'm actually from Hong Kong, and I actually have felt it in Hong Kong. Oh, can somebody go back? It's a little noisy. Yeah. So things are going to get really, really expensive. For example, Venezuela, right? They printed money and, so their money is not worth anything, right? Same thing happened in the Weimar Republic during World War I, like after, like, it was set up. Also money printing. Same story, Zimbabwe also printed money, right? So in the end, maybe you need a lot of like paper money, like fiat money to exchange for very little goods. I highly recommend you to watch this episode from Mike Maloney. He he created all these really excellent documentaries of like hidden secrets of money. And this one is about the fall of empires. And he talks about how during the Roman Empire, the reason why Roman Empire fell was because back then, in order to finance the war, they actually were clipping coins, right? So the coins, like they were made of gold, you know, they were clipping the corners. So in effect, they're also printing money. They're reminting the money, right? So why am I talking about Bitcoin? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Elaine Ann, and I actually am originally from Hong Kong, but I actually lived and worked in the US for 12 years in the 90s. Went back to Asia for 18 years. Earlier this year, came to Canada because my larger family is here in Canada. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I'm actually so-called in the tech industry. My company helps a lot of Western tech companies in Asia. That's why I know a lot of engineers, a lot of programmers, and also because I worked in New York before. In the 90s, I worked in the East Coast and West Coast. So I worked in both New York and Silicon Valley. So it's interesting because I have two bunch of friends. I have the financial friends who worked at Wall Street and also the tech friends, right? So when you talk about Bitcoin cryptocurrency, they have 180 degrees different in opinions, right? The bankers would tell me that, oh, this is a scam, it's a tulip bubble, you can't believe in it. That's what JP Morgan said, you know, about what like Bitcoin's a fraud, right? A few years ago. But then when I talk to tech people, they're like, this is like the next revolution. This is gonna change everything. It's the financial revolution, right? So it made me really curious, right? And plus my brother is mining Bitcoin as well. And he's a computer science guy. He can read code. So that's how I really got into it and really understood the crux of what it's all about. We also train a lot of tech startups. So currently we're helping a lot of tech startups that come to Canada. And we also work with like AI startups and blockchain startups. So that's why I have interest in this space, understanding the space, and also making it a lot more easy to use. I'm in the area of what we call user experience. You'll be familiar with this because if you have used an iPhone, you know how much easier it is to use than phones were in the Motorola days, right? So there are designers who make technology easy to use, user-friendly, and not so complicated. Unfortunately, in this space right now in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, it's very hard to use because we're still in the early days. The good news is you're still early, okay? If everything was so easy, it's like no pain, no gain, right? Okay, so I want to show you this chart because I've been through this chart in the early .com industry. So in the early, are you guys old enough to remember what happened in the 90s? The first .com boom and bust, yes?
Nope.
Unfortunately,
I don't know what
yes.
you're talking about.
Okay, I was in the first .com boom and bust, okay? I joined this company called Razorfish back in 1997, right? And then the boom was up until 2002, right? And then it busted, remember? Like back then, in the good old days, Yahoo was the biggest company. It wasn't even Google, right? So I went through this once already, right? And I think Matthew did as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's the same pattern all over again now, right? I think in the cryptocurrency or Bitcoin area, the peak of an inflated expectation is actually end of 2017. You know, when it got really high and then like people freaked out, the bank said it's scam. And then, you know, people freaked out and it came down. I personally think we're now in the red zone. So in every technological cycle, there's always people who are early innovators. So these are people who invented like blockchain, which is the technology behind Bitcoin. And then there are early adopters, right? If you're in this call, you are an early adopter if you have bought Bitcoin. Okay, that's the good news, I think. I think we're entering early majority now because like companies like PayPal, announce they accept Bitcoin, right? All these financial institutions are also saying that they have cryptocurrency desks, trading desks, and all that. So I think we're right here right now, and we'll see, if that's true, right? So remember during the first .com boom and bust, everything you slap a .com on, investors invested, right? There was pets.com, webvan.com, anything.com. Same thing now. Right now, and anything you put blockchain on, investors invest, right? But the problem is maybe 90% of these companies are crap, right? So the companies that came out of the slope, in the .com era is Amazon, Google, Facebook, right? The big ones that and use every day now. And I think in the crypto space is going to be exactly the same. It's going to be, there are going to be a few that are going to emerge as the winners. So the reason why it's high risk is because if you are able to differentiate the good between the bads. So if you're able to differentiate which is the good ones, like if you invested in Amazon and Google, then you'll make many times over. Okay, so a disclaimer like everybody else would do. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is educational sharing. This is a private sharing. I'm just sharing to friends and people in the Tony's community. So please do your own research. Okay, and then if you're in the Tony group, like we also share a lot of information, right? Okay, did you know that Bitcoin is now larger than the world's largest banks? Actually, this number, I find in the crypto space, 2 months old data is already really old. Okay, right now, Bitcoin is already almost 700 billion. So it has already doubled, okay, since a few months ago, right? So it's bigger than JP Morgan Chase, ICBC, Bank of China, Bank of America, and CCB China, right? Oh, this is an interesting story. Did you know that there was once this guy in Florida many years ago where he bought pizzas with like Bitcoins, and now it's worth $80 million. So it's been labeled the most expensive pizza in the world. Okay. So it just goes to tell you, how much Bitcoin has risen in price. And some of you might know these like financial gurus like Robert Kiyosaki. So look at what he says. So he wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? So he says the biggest economic crash is coming. The dollar is toast. While gold and silver and cryptocurrencies, the people's money are going to take out the scam US dollars. I actually went to listen to him in Sunjun just 2 years ago. And even back then, 2 years ago, he was still talking about real estate and gold and silver. But recently, he has also been, talking about cryptocurrencies. So Bitcoin is a type of cryptocurrency, right? There's many cryptocurrencies, but Bitcoin is the major one, and the first one most people will enter in. This guy who is the CEO of PayPal says that Bitcoin is going to be worth $1 million, and I'll show you how they calculate it. Also, Goldman Sachs, a ex-hedge fund Goldman Sachs person who now started his own like web channel called Rob Hell, also says Bitcoin would surge to 1 million in 5 years. Former Facebook executive, the same. He says it's going to go to 1 million. Of course, some of these predictions, the timeline a little different and how they predict it. So here's some public information. If you go to a website called Bitcoin Treasuries, you can actually see these institutions, the major ones that bought into Bitcoin. For example, MicroStrategy, he recently invested in $1 billion US. $1 billion, okay? $1 billion US in Bitcoin. And I think he just started in August. He already doubled. And recently he tweeted to Elon Musk and tried to convince him to shift his company, assets into Bitcoin as well. And if you listen to his interview, he tells you why, right? He's like, he's been like if you work really hard and you hold fiat money, and if fiat money means paper money, right? Like US dollar. Then if your money devalues, then why are you working so hard, right? Square is, do you guys know Square? Nope. Okay. Square is actually, yeah. Square is actually owned by Jack Dorsey. He's the CEO of Twitter, right? So if you use Twitter, he also owns Square. So if you go to retail stores and there's this like white, really slick payment, device, it's by Square. And they also own 4,700 Bitcoin. And then one of the biggest trust, this is Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. They own 500,000 Bitcoin. Okay, so these are all the institutions. Matthew, Hut 8 Mining Corp is number 4 here.
Oh, really? It's on here?
So yeah, it's number 4 here. So it's
okay, number 4, great.
Yes, 2,800 BTC they own. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank
you.
So
these are all the financial institutions or the corporates that are into Bitcoin. Okay, so this is MicroStrategy. Originally, his company was only worth like 500 million, and then he invested in 400 million worth of Bitcoin into Bitcoin. Yeah, Square buys 15 million Bitcoin as part of large investment in cryptocurrency. So all these are really like just less than 6 months old news. Fidelity. So you can see now, I think the wave now, it went up to 40K last week, right? Came down a little bit, like 35K this week. Went down a little bit, came back up. This wave of, the price going up, I think it's because of financial institutions coming in. Actually, the first webinar that I talked to my high school friends, Vivian is my high school friend. It was in November 28th last year, right? So just 2 months ago. Back then it was 18K. Okay, so for those who invested just 2 months ago, you're already doubled. And the Mass Mutual is 169 years old, like super conservative, like insurance company. They also invest in 100 million in Bitcoin. And PayPal also last October announced that they will allow Bitcoin to people to purchase with Bitcoin. However, there's a caveat here, okay? For those of you who are thinking about this, if you buy on PayPal, you can only buy and you cannot sell, okay? They don't allow you to take it out. And I'm gonna talk about why that is a problem after this. But however, 70% of the market of purchase of Bitcoin is actually through PayPal. Because most people are familiar with PayPal, so they buy it through PayPal because it's easy enough. Otherwise, right now the user experience is quite crappy, but it's gonna get easier, right? Remember the days when computers was DOS with black computer screen and white text, right? We're in this exact same space in cryptocurrency right now. It's gonna get easier and easier. And remember we had AOL at one point. Are you guys old enough to know what AOL is? Yeah, so in the early days when people didn't know how to get on the internet, they signed up for AOL, right? Because it's safer, it's easier, right? And then of course, like afterwards, people got used to the internet. It's like, oh, why do I need AOL, right? Same thing, right? Same thing as now, like people are so afraid, they let's buy with PayPal or let's buy with like ETFs or funds because they don't know how to deal with it, right? Okay, so in order to understand cryptocurrency, we have to first go back and talk about what is money. Actually, the form of money has evolved many times. It has not always been paper, right? In the early days, we would barter, right? Like I have a chicken and you have a cow and we'll just negotiate. And then later on, it became seashells. In some cultures, it's coffee beans. Some cultures, it's stones, right? And then it evolved into, these commodities like gold, silver, and then it became coins. And then it evolved into paper money, right? Can you imagine the period where it moved from coins to paper money? Like how freaked out people, might have been back then. Like how could you replace gold with paper, right? And then it became plastic money. And then recently it's like PayPal, right? It's electronic money. So if you talk to your grandparents about like using credit cards, they might freak out also. In fact, recently my dad told me, like if you want to deposit a check, don't go to ATM. You need to meet a person, right? So every generation, like the form of money is changing. So now we're in, the I don't know how many versions of evolution of money. We're going into decentralized money. It's called DeFi, right? Decentralized finance is what it's called. Okay, and if you look at the world's all the money in the world, actually cryptocurrency is relatively small. So it's like I think a total of 1 trillion, where Bitcoin is 700 billion. And then like look at gold. Like gold I think is like around 9 to 11 trillion right now, US dollars market cap. And then these are like the richest people in the world: Warren Buffett, Gates, Jeff Bezos. And then this is the physical currency, and these are all the big companies, right? So in terms of proportion, cryptocurrency is really small, right? And this is pretty important to understand about why Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is gonna, move up, I think at least. Okay, and then in order to understand cryptocurrency, you also need to understand the technology behind Bitcoin, which is blockchain, right? So, so in the early days, like without the internet, the society is actually centralized. And right now, our internet is actually what we call decentralized, but it's not distributed. And the next slide, I'll show you an easier way to understand this. So let's say today, if I need to send some money to you, I'm in Vancouver. Like some of you are in LA, Hong Kong, right? US. The way I would do it is I need to go to the bank and then do a wire transfer, right? I need to fill up a form and then wait a whole week, right, for me to do that. So we always need a middleman. You like in Hong Kong, you will need an HSBC. In the US, you will need a Bank of America. In Canada, you would need like a Bank of Montreal, right? So, but and then the internet right now, it's also full of middlemen, right? All these big companies that we're using are middlemen, right? For example, have you heard on YouTube, a lot of people cannot post what they want to say. Recently, Trump got silenced. I don't want to talk about politics. I'm just talking about the fact that his account got shut down by Facebook and Twitter. And actually even Amazon, I wanted to sell my book, but they made it so difficult, right? And even Google. I mean, a lot of people are worried about their privacy issues, especially with the WhatsApp issue recently. Did you guys all migrate to Telegram or Signal? I know the Tony's group, migrated to Discord, right? It's because it's centralized. When it's centralized, that means they have the power to do whatever they want to you. But the whole movement of blockchain is we're going to decentralization. Oops, I changed this. We're going to decentralization, meaning with a crypto wallet, with a Bitcoin wallet, I can send money to you directly right now. Okay, I can actually show you. We don't need to wait a week. I don't need to fill any forms. In fact, my bank asked me, "Oh, if you want to wire money to Hong Kong, you need to fax us." I was like, "Does anybody still use this fax nowadays?" Even with PayPal, they can hold your money. Like recently, because I just came to Canada for a year, I have some income coming in and I use PayPal, right? But because I haven't used PayPal in a long while, they said, wow, suddenly you have so much money, like what's going on? You need, we'll stop your account for 21 days. So I can't move my money for 21 days. Okay, and there's nothing I can do about that. But with cryptocurrency and like with the Bitcoin wallet, I can send money anywhere. I can send it to South Africa. I can send it anywhere in the world without control, other people controlling it. Okay, so the way blockchain works is, well, this can get technical, but any of you use Google Doc? Anyone?
Yep.
Yep, okay. So you know that your information is actually on the cloud, right?
Right.
Meaning, if you lose your computer next day, it's fine, you know, as long as you buy another new computer and you have your password. Okay, same with WhatsApp. You know, if you lose your phone, as long as you buy another phone and you download the app again, you have your passwords, you will see the information. So your computer or your phone is actually just a viewing device, right? And what it is like an internet ledger, right? So let's say I sent you $10. On the network, it will record, across various computers that I sent Vivian $10. I sent Vivian $10. I sent Vivian $10. So it's gonna do confirmation on the network, right? That's how it's decentralized. There's no middle person party who can shut this down. And then if you use these Bitcoin wallets, there's a concept called a private key and a public key. A public key is like your email address. Thanks to Vivian, that analogy is really useful. A public key is like your email address, right? Your private key is like your password, right? And the password, it's called a seed recovery phrase, which is 12 words. It has to be in order, and I'll show you later how you actually do that. But it actually flips the whole concept of our society that we need to trust a big government or a big bank in the middle. It actually flips the whole concept, and you don't have to trust anybody anymore. You can trust the network, because the network is maintained by, it's actually math and cryptography. And then it was actually invented because of 2008, the subprime mortgage crisis, the financial crisis, because a lot of families were hurt, and a bunch of tech programmers invented this under the name of Satoshi Nakamoto, where you don't have to rely on banks and governments anymore, and I can just send money to you, directly. And they solved the problem of what we call double spending. Anything that's digital can be copied, right? Like whether it's digital money or digital files or digital movies, right? That's the nature of digital. But what blockchain solved is they found a way to, not be able to duplicate money that's digital, right? Okay, that's the simplest way to explain it. Okay, so the way the network works is basically a bunch of computers playing liar. Sorry, there's some echo. Okay, it's like a bunch of computers on the network. So imagine all these computers. Oops. All these computers on the network, they're like playing like liar's dice, right? So each computer is guessing a really complex math problem. So this process is called mining. And the computer who guesses it right will get a reward, like a cryptocurrency reward, like a Bitcoin reward. So this is getting a little technical, but this is how the network, the incentive system maintains the network 24/7. So this network runs 24/7, unlike the stock market. So in Wall Street, the stock market runs like until 9 to 5, right? And then people close doors. But no, cryptocurrency, it's 24/7. That's why it's a lot higher volume, and then also it's a lot more volatile in the beginning. because people are not sure about the technology and they're worried and scared, right? But once you understand how it works, I think people won't be so worried. Okay. So what's really going on? I know a lot of people are coming into the space primarily because they're interested in money and how to grow their wealth, right? Or how to even preserve their wealth because of the money printing. However, what this is all about is about decentralization. So we're currently in Web 2.0. All the apps that you're using or websites like Google, Dropbox, Skype, Facebook, WhatsApp, WeChat, it's all centralized, meaning a company is centralized and they run it and they have control over your data, basically, okay? But we're moving to decentralization. So what this means is the whole internet is going to be copied one more time, but in a decentralized way. And all these new companies are actually popping up. For every single service that we have right now, there is another newer version that's coming out. So imagine it's like Volkswagen versus Tesla, right? So Tesla is like electric car, right? So we had cars before, but it was running on gasoline. So now it's, a centralized app going to decentralized apps. And I believe it's going to be another generation of tech companies coming up. It's not going to be the same people. You never have the same people when you have a, disruption. Like the people, like you won't see like GM and BMW inventing electric cars, right? It's going to be another bunch of people, maybe younger also. I'm currently using the Brave browser. These apps are like, for example, I know people are moving away from WhatsApp recently. Status is a decentralized messenger. However, we're still very early. Some of these apps is still not very user friendly. But I'm sure in 5 to 10 years, they're gonna drastically improve, and maybe 90% of these will die. And then the few that emerged are gonna stick, right? Okay, so this is the recent news about WhatsApp and Facebook's ultimatum, which scared away a lot of users. I think Elon Musk tweeted and asked people like to move to Signal, right? Okay, so this is actually the Brave browser. So what it does is it can block ads and trackers. You know how like right now when you go on the internet, you are actually tracked. Where you go, what you watch, that's how they serve up the ads, right? On Facebook and Google, right? So it blocks it, and you also if you can also get what they call Brave rewards. So you can actually make money by using their browser. And also, so this is the Brave browser. It claims to be 3 times faster than Google Chrome, and it uses 35% less battery. It stops online surveillance. So I think this movement is going on because people are so worried about their privacy and all that. And blockchain can actually allow you to take control back your privacy data and only allow specific data to be shown to specific people at specific times. Okay. I don't know if you've heard of this site called Odyssey. So it's like the YouTube, right? But Odyssey is decentralized, meaning nobody can shut anybody down. Okay. So I'm showing you this because I want you to see how blockchain is actually used in reality and where we are moving to and why these coins are worth something, right? And our status is it's like the WhatsApp, but it's a decentralized messenger, meaning also your data shouldn't be sold. And also on top of a messenger, you can also send money right away. Like I can, as we were talking, chatting, I can actually send you, Bitcoin or Ethereum, money, a cryptocurrency.
That'd be really cool. Send me some.
Yes. Okay, so there's another site called Unstoppable Domains. So remember, like right now, a lot of us have websites, right? But if the internet service provider says, okay, I don't like Marta and I'm going to shut her website down, Okay. But with decentralized domain names, nobody can shut you down. Okay. So we're kind of, the whole internet is moving, to Web 3.0, a decentralized version. Everything is going to have a decentralized version, I think. So what is Bitcoin? Okay, you hear this term a lot. And how many of you have invested already? Or maybe type in the chat, yes, yes, yes. Have you invested already or still not? Okay. Okay, thumbs up. Okay, so what is Bitcoin? So just now I explained the technology behind Bitcoin, which is decentralization, right? It's a blockchain technology. Okay, so this is so who invented Bitcoin and blockchain? It's this guy called Satoshi Nakamoto. However, nobody ever seen this person. This person never came up, on TV or anything. I think it's because some people say it's actually a group of people because they studied. So basically, he wrote a white paper called the Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, that describes how this works. And then you can actually go to read the paper, okay? It's on the internet. It's called bitcoin.org/bitcoin.pdf. You can actually read the paper if you're technically able enough to understand it, okay? If it doesn't give you a headache. But he actually, somebody actually wrote this paper, right? But, and Bitcoin has been around for 10 years already, and the system hasn't died so far. Oh, by the way, if you look at a lot of media talk about Bitcoin, they always show you a gold coin. But I can tell you, Bitcoin has no form. It's not a physical thing. Just like the money you have in the bank is actually a bunch of zeros and ones. And by the way, the bank is actually not holding the actual currency inside the bank, not 100% at least. If I'm in Canada, if I go to a bank now and I want to withdraw money, the maximum amount of money they let me withdraw is like 3,000 Canadian. Okay, if I want more, they're going to flag me and ask you like, why are you, taking out so much money, right? So Bitcoin does not look like a gold coin. Okay, my mom would think that it is, but it's not. It's just a bunch of numbers, right? And the way you look at your money is you look at an app, and that is called a wallet. It's actually an app that you can download on your app store, whether you're using iPhone or Android. Okay, actually, this is funny. If you go to this site called Bitcoin, Obituary, that's not how it's spelled. Since 2010, Bitcoin in the media has already died 395 times. And this is reported by many like big medias as well, because it's a new technology, right? People are worried, right? People are scared. And, so this is a record of how the media has been talking about Bitcoin. And it has died almost 400 times by today. So what I want to say is it's really important to at least I learned who to listen to and who not to listen to. You shouldn't be listening to anyone. And like what Tony says, whatever you focus on, expands. So if you believe it's a scam, you can find a lot of news on the internet that Bitcoin is a scam. If you believe it's gonna, do great, you can also find a lot of news that says the same. So what's important is for you to do your homework and really understand who to listen from. Me, myself, I don't listen to bankers. Sorry if there's bankers here, because the whole point of blockchain is this disrupting the banking industry, right? I don't listen to media people because media people have no skin in the game. They report because of eyeballs, right? They report, it going up like crazy, going down like crazy. That's how they make money, right? So I don't listen to them. I also don't listen to academics because if you want to make money, why would you listen to academics, right? I would listen to billionaires, people who have made money, and also tech people. Why? Because this is a technological revolution. So I think, and interestingly, if you look at all the people who are in this space, like Ethereum is like the second largest cryptocurrency. The founder is 25 years old. Okay. So all these people who came up with, all these cryptocurrency are actually really young people, right? Like people who, like after millennials, and they are the internet age people, right? People above, I don't know, maybe 50 or industrial age people. So it's different. So just now what I described in the network is called mining. Remember that network where I had a lot of computers, right? It's so actually the language in this space is a bit confusing. I personally think they use the wrong terms because when you say mining, people are so confused. Like, is there a mountain? It's not a mountain. It's an analogy that you need when you mine gold. First, gold is scarce. That's why it's worth something. And when you mine it, you need effort and energy, right? To dig it out, right? So they actually use the same analogy for computers, right? So the computers need to guess the right math formula to actually get rewarded the Bitcoin, right? So it's just the same process. It has nothing to do with mountains and digging. Okay. My brother actually does mining at home. So he has a computer sitting in his study room, and it's on 24/7 a day, 24/7 hours a day. And it mines Bitcoin. But of course, nowadays, you can, any of you can actually do mining at home if you have the brains to figure it out. Sometimes it's a bit brain racking. You can do that. It's just that it's not going to be like, if you're not a big miner, meaning what we call a crypto farm, then you're not going to get that much reward. But so because it needs effort and it's scarce, that's why it works. It's because all these miners are there to maintain this network on for 24/7 a day, 365 days a year. So that's why you don't need Wall Street, because all these computers are distributed and they're maintaining the network, and they have the incentive to do so. So these are crypto farms. There's a lot of it in areas where there is cheap water and cheap electricity, because it needs a lot of electricity to power the computers, and it needs water to cool it down, right? So I think most of you might know Bitcoin there's only 21 million available, right? Okay, that will ever be produced. It's just programmed into it, right? We're now here 2021, right? That's why it's been volatile, like, in the early days, right? But once we get close to, so now, right now it's 88% already mined, already produced out. So afterwards, it's gonna, be stabilized once all the Bitcoin has been mined. So here's a very useful chart. I think you can actually Google it. It's a comparison between gold, Bitcoin, and dollar, the pros and cons, right? So Bitcoin has all the pros of all the currencies. I had a discussion with a friend. I had a discussion with Matt, and I said, I think people above 40 would tend to want to buy gold because they're used to that. But I think millennials and people like under 40 are going to tend to want to buy cryptocurrency because they grew up with the internet, right? They grew up with digital. And however, like, for example, gold, it's also valuable. It's just that you can't carry gold around, right? I can't fly with 2 gold bars, and go back to Hong Kong. I can't even cross the, immigration, right? And And also Bitcoin is interesting because it is divisible, meaning you don't have to buy one Bitcoin. Although one Bitcoin now is 35K, you can actually buy 0.000000001 Bitcoin. So you can just buy $200, right? You'll also be able to afford it. So it's called divisible, right? And also Bitcoin is anonymous but trackable. Anonymous means if I send you some Bitcoin through the wallet, okay, because it's just a string of numbers, nobody knows who sent it unless you tell the whole world like that number belongs to you, right? So you can actually see it on, you can go to the site called block1.com, and you can actually type in the transaction ID and you can see, because it's an open ledger, right? You can actually see the transaction on the internet, but nobody knows you own that, okay? Yeah, so maybe you can spend some time to look at this. And also, I think in the early days, people are like, oh, you know, it's the criminals that use cryptocurrency and all that. But hey, they also use the dollar. Actually, the dollar is even less trackable than Bitcoin. Actually, with Bitcoin, because the technology is blockchain, they can actually trace all the where it went, right? You can actually trace the whole chain of where money went from which account to which exchange to which wallets, right? So actually, it's not. It's actually safer, you know, than the dollar, the fiat dollar. And Bitcoin is scarce. However, dollar is no longer scarce because of all the money printing. Remember, back in the 90s, we had what, 18% interest, right? Like, how much interest do you have in the bank now? 0.01 maybe. Like, you might as well like put money under your bed, right? It's not making you anything, and it's charging you, right? So that's why the money is depreciated, and it's gonna be hard for them to raise interest, right? I mean, with this economy. Okay, so this is what I mean by divisible. Okay, this is getting a little technical, but one Bitcoin actually you don't have to buy one whole Bitcoin, which is 35K now. You can buy 0.000000001, which is called one Satoshi. Okay. That's the unit. Okay. This part gets people confused because of the decimal, but I think the way they design it is because once it's all mined, then it will become more like normal numbers for us. Interestingly, if you look at how common are cryptocurrencies around the world, it's actually the third world countries. Do you know why?
Because they don't trust their government and the banks.
Exactly.
Because they're smart.
Sorry?
Because they're smart. I'm kidding.
Okay. Actually, in developed countries where we are, and most of you are, we have the existing banking system. We have credit cards, so people are kind of used to it, right? But in places where they don't trust the government, or they don't even have access to banking, I think more than half of the world doesn't have access to banking, and this whole blockchain financial revolution means that if you're in South Africa, you can all of a sudden do business with anybody in the world, sending money directly, right? So it's actually benefiting, like, you know, the countries, the people who are in like developing countries as well. In fact, I have a projection that because a lot more people in these third world countries are actually owning cryptocurrencies, all of a sudden they will become millionaires or billionaires because the amount has grown so much, right? Okay, and the cryptocurrency space, especially Bitcoin now, it's very volatile. Right? So you need to have a strong heart to and understanding of what's happening, because it goes high really fast and it comes down really fast. One of the reasons I think is because it's 24/7. The other is also because people don't understand the new technology in the space. They are scared, right? There's FOMO, like fear of missing out, and then when it goes down, they're like, it's like roller coaster basically. But there's always this pattern. It goes into like, this exponential phase, which is what I think we just experienced. Like it went from 8,000, like 3,500 to like 40K, and come down again. So there's a pattern to it. And if you compare Bitcoin versus gold just in 2020, the quarterly gain of Bitcoin is 72%, whereas gold is 15% so far. Oops, sorry. And if you look at, okay, so the Bitcoin quarterly return since 2014. So you can see it goes really high and really low, really high and really low. But the last quarter, it has made 74%. Which investment vehicle makes you 74% in a quarter? Tell me.
Yeah,
I mean, it would be really great if they make 30%, right? I mean, that's considered super high. So it is volatile, but oh, sorry, I don't know what's happening here. Okay. Oop, okay. Yeah. Actually, I was also learning about Forex, foreign exchange, like trading different currencies. But then after a while, I'm like, oh my God, like if you look at all the currency pairs, like, and the year-to-date performance, like euro, pound, Australia dollar, US dollar, look at what Bitcoin versus US dollar is 147% year-to-date. Okay. So it's almost like there's just no compare. That is also why I believe it's a financial revolution. Like the way I see cryptocurrency is not just another asset class. It's not like stock, bond, real estate. It's not another one. It's actually replacing fiat currency is the way I see it. Okay. And then if you look at over 10 years, how much Bitcoin has growth compared to NASDAQ, large cap, small cap, all the bonds, gold, cash, it's 6 million%, okay, since 2011. So I think this is a space that's really interesting to watch and participate in if you take massive action. So the reason why Bitcoin is so valuable, one of the things that has been programmed into it, it's an event called halving. Every 4 years, the supply halves, okay? So it's called the Bitcoin halving. The last one happened in May 18th, around May 18th last year. And before that, I've been telling all my friends, oh, it's halving. For those who listened, then they would have bought Bitcoin at around 8,000. So this is the pattern. So this is the third halving last year. The next halving will be 4 years later. Yeah. And if you look at, the growth of Bitcoin, like during the 4 halvings, so every time like the Bitcoin created will be less and less, right? So it's almost guaranteed scarcity. Even gold, you can't guarantee scarcity because maybe all of a sudden they'll discover a new mine with new gold and then suddenly the price would drop, right? But with Bitcoin, it's guaranteed scarcity because it's been programmed into that every 4 years the supply is halved. So if you look at the numbers, the first halving is 2010. Back then, the price was 1231. And the percentage increase was 7,900, right? The second halving is 2016. And so it gets less and less, right? So so when it gets more scarce, that means the price goes up. And the second halving, the pricing was 650. So this is around the time I knew about it at the Tony Financial Mastery event. Okay. And last year in May was the third halving. And it was around, I think it was $8,000, 8,000 US. And now it's already 35K, right? So, so Bitcoin is just one of the cryptocurrencies, right? If you go to a site called CoinMarketCap, it's like the stock market. You see many cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin is one of the largest one. It's actually already 700 billion market cap, right? Like I said before, bigger than a lot of the banks in the world, largest banks in the world. Ethereum is the second one. Ethereum is totally another animal. Ethereum is like a programmable app store. So it's actually a platform where you can program many different decentralized apps on it, like the ones I showed you, like Status, Brave browser, right? So actually some people say Ethereum even has more potential, right? So Bitcoin has been equated to digital gold because of its properties. And Bitcoin has no other function other than a store of value. But Ethereum, you can program many different applications on top of it. So for example, maybe, actually, I was just joking with a friend. I think in the future, getting a divorce would be really easy because you don't need a middleman. You don't need a lawyer, right? You can just like send your Bitcoin like from your wallet, and split in half, and then you can get divorced. Whereas, nowadays we need a lot of middlemen, the banks, the lawyers, the paperwork. But then with Ethereum, there's a name called smart contracts. So you can actually program into the contract to say, okay, so every month you get paid $5,000, right? So it will automatically do that. Or for example, if me and some friends come together to start a tech startup, we can have a smart contract that it will just execute itself at the right time and then send the money directly to my wallet, right? So I don't have to go through all the banks and the procedures and the paper form filling. So everything is about cutting out the middlemen and making things much more efficient is where we're going, I think. Also, a recent news is the S&P and Dow Jones indexes will launch a cryptocurrency index in 2021, which is this year. Okay, any questions so far? I'm going to talk about the second part about how to buy Bitcoin.
Okay, I have a question.
Yep.
Before you go into that part, going back to the chart, you don't have to go back to the chart, but there was that chart comparing the dollar, the Bitcoin, and
Yes.
what was it? Gold, right?
Gold.
So I think you're correct on the gold being understood by older people than millennials, Bitcoin. But what you said before to me was, the engineers and the younger generation coming up with the geeky part of the Bitcoin and the blockchain is not connecting with the rest of the world because we just don't understand it. We don't get it. We just want to know that it's trustable and we can utilize it. Kind of like what I saw with WeChat in China. Everybody's using the phone to pay. No one uses cash. That was amazing to me. Somehow they got everyone to trust that.
Yeah.
I don't know how that worked. Maybe it's because it's a Chinese government. They said it has to be. But that's the only way I can see Bitcoin being adopted is people trusting that whatever's happening on the back end, everyone agrees with it. But as long as you're looking on the news and everyone's conflicted, no one can tell what's going on. And when you try to explain it, it has this mathematical blockchain background. People won't trust it, okay, in general. And it's hard to buy, which you're going to get into. But gold, it's gold. 5,000 years, it's a piece of gold or it's got value. If you can marry that concept of gold and dollar, say, with the Bitcoin and somehow say, look, it's like gold, but it's trusted. And you just have to make sure that's a number and it just executes and it's done. Because right now, everything behind an execution, we really don't know. We're still trusting the bank, right? We do some paperwork, but somehow the money gets from here to there and there's a number there, but we still don't trust it, but we're forced to.
Yes, absolutely. I am Well, that's why I'm in my industry. We make technology user friendly, and right now because it was invented by the geeks, right? And with every technological innovation, it's the same story, right? Remember when computers first came out? It was like so freaking hard to use. It's DOS.
Right.
You know, it's C:// blah blah blah, right? Nobody knew how to use it until the Macintosh came out, right? And you know, it's the same with everything. When the car came out in the first generation, you have to get off the car, go in front of the car, like, you know, do this for it to run, right? So I'm sure it's gonna get easier. This late last year, two good news is if you download the Cash app, if you're in the US, that's probably the easiest way to buy. The Cash app is by Square, Jack Dorsey, like the CEO of Twitter. That's probably the easy way to buy Bitcoin. And also PayPal, right? Although one caveat is like PayPal is centralized. So if you buy from there, they can hold your money, right? But if I buy it from a crypto wallet, like or an exchange, and I send it to my friends, there's nobody who can stop me. Okay, but I'm absolutely with you. Right now is very hard to use. It's not impossible. You just need a little bit of patience, right? Yeah,
It's really hard to use.
it's really hard to use. I can help you, Matthew. Don't worry.
We're trying. I forgot already. So that's one.
Yeah. Okay, so how to buy Bitcoin? Okay, there are two concepts. One is how do you exchange money, and how do you access the money? I don't say store because I think currently the way the industry use the terminologies is so confusing because they tell you it's a wallet and you think your money is in your wallet, meaning in your app. It's not in your app, okay? It's on the blockchain. Okay, so number one, how do you exchange money? Okay, first of all, you need to figure out like how much is one Bitcoin worth, right? So if you just Google, you know, or go to like this is called XE currency, an app. You can type in like, okay, so I want to buy, let's say, how much US dollar or Canadian dollar or Hong Kong dollar. Then you can figure out like how much Bitcoin it equates to, right? So right now, one Bitcoin is like 35K US dollar, right? But like I said, you don't have to buy one Bitcoin. You can buy 0.0000001 Bitcoin, right? So you can just buy 200 US dollars, you're fine. Okay, so there are two main places that you can buy Bitcoin. One is the Bitcoin ATM machines, which is all over the world. In some countries, it doesn't exist, like China, because they banned it. And then if you go to an ATM machine, you can actually put in your paper money, like put in your US dollar or Canadian dollar or Hong Kong dollar, and it will send the coins to your app. So you need to download the app first and then tell the ATM your address, which is through a scanning the address over, and then it will send the coins to your wallet. However, it's highly recommended that you find somebody who knows what they're doing to do it with you the first time. It can be a little nerve-wracking. The first time I bought, because right now Bitcoin is a little slow. It needs to have the confirmation on the network in the cloud, okay? A confirmation means because it's decentralized, right? Well, in a way, it's actually not that slow when you compare to a bank. You know, like when you go to a store to buy some things, although you already got your product, however, the bank reconciliation doesn't happen until like a month later, right? But with cryptocurrency, it actually happens right away, but maybe you have to wait for 10, 20 minutes, depending on how congested the network is, how many people are buying at the same time. So some designs, when it's not designed well, like you'll be like, where's my money? Like, because you have to wait like 10, 20 minutes, right? But I'm sure, I think the technology is going to improve and they're going to work out the kinks, right? So here's a video. This was 2 years ago when I had a bunch of interns in Hong Kong. We went all over Hong Kong to try the Bitcoin machines. Let me show you. So basically you say, I want to buy, and then you would scan, you need to download the app first, and you need to scan the QR code so that the machine knows, so it's like your email address, right? So the machine knows where to send the money to, and then you put in your paper money, right? So I gave a stack of cash to my intern to just put one by one, right? However, there's a limit to most ATM machines, like maybe maximum 1,000 US, 1,000 Canadian or US. So you just go there and slide it in. Okay, fast forward this. So after you slide all your money in, whoops. Okay, I mean, you get the idea, right? After you slide all your money in and you wait a little bit, then on your app, you will see the money arrived, okay? So this is where the user experience right now is not that great. So if you know anybody who's working on such projects, I'll be so happy to work on that. If you go to a website called Coin ATM Radar, you can find all over the world where the ATM machines are. So if you're in Hong Kong, it will tell you most of the ATM machines are like maybe in the Hong Kong area. Even if you're in Toronto or LA, you can actually find them. Okay. If it's easy for you to access the ATM machine, I would recommend you to try it on the ATM machine because it's the physicality of it that makes you feel more secure. If it's all over digital, like sometimes it's even more nerve-wracking. Oops. Next. Okay. So ATM is Bitcoin ATM or crypto ATM is one way to buy. Okay. And the difference is some ATM machines don't need you to provide too much information, maybe just your phone number. But if you buy on an exchange meaning it's like a website, right? It's like buying stocks, right? So there are several major ones, like, so for example, CoinMama. So we actually selected these to show you because you can buy it if you are from Hong Kong or from Canada or from US. So CoinMama you can buy. So you can see on the interface, you can buy and sell, right? You can also sell it back and it will put it back into your bank account. Coinbase is one of the largest one, but it's only available in the US right now. I think the fees is a little higher. Crypto.com, I'm showing this because they also have a Visa and MasterCard that goes with it. And one of my friends, he works as a cybersecurity officer in Crypto.com. And you can also buy Hong Kong, Canada, and US. Binance is one of the largest one as well, and they have less fees. And it's actually started by this Chinese guy. And he became a billionaire within 1 year. It's kind of crazy. And he's Chinese Canadian. I think he's from Vancouver as well. Gemini, I don't know if you guys heard of Gemini. Gemini was started by the twins who fought against Mark Zuckerberg and won some money and started Gemini. So they started an exchange, right? Okay, so now I already talked about how you would buy. It's mainly ATM machines and exchanges, right? Actually, there are other ways to buy, but I highly would not recommend it. Like you can go on forums and find some, strangers to buy and sell. You don't want to do that. Recently in Hong Kong, there's a case where there's this guy who wanted to trade Bitcoin and he got robbed like 3 million Hong Kong dollars. He's just like went on the cab to exchange the money with some stranger and he got robbed the cash. So don't do that, right? If you go to buy on an ATM machine, find places where it's bright and not dodgy, okay? And go with a friend, ideally. Okay, the second concept is access, right? Like I said before, your money is actually not in the app. because even if you lose the app or lose your phone, as long as you have the recovery password, you can actually view it again, right? Because it's actually on the blockchain, right? It's in the cloud. Okay, it's like your Google Doc, right? It's like your WhatsApp, right? So actually the most important thing is actually your 12-word recovery phrase, and I'm going to show you. Okay, so you can access your money through crypto, what we call crypto wallets. The reason why I say crypto is because it's not only Bitcoin. You can also buy and sell Ethereum and many other what we call altcoins, alternative coins. I personally like, this is called Bread Wallet. I think it's quite user-friendly. And you can see, okay, so this is Bitcoin, this is Ethereum, and Bread Wallet also has its own coins, right? And you can add different coins here. So different wallets host different coins. So you need to check which wallet has which coin. But if you are a newbie, I recommend you just stick with Bitcoin and Ethereum for now until you are familiar with it, then move on to more complex stuff. So you can find these on the App Store or Android or Google Play Store. Jax is another one. This is actually the one that I started with a few years ago. And they have a lot of coins, but I think the interface is not as good as Bread Wallet. Coinbase. So Coinbase has an exchange. It also has a wallet, right? So Coinbase is also very, very large, the exchange. Binance also has its own crypto wallet and exchange as well. And there's also the Trust Wallet, right? There are many wallets. You can go research it yourself, but I think these are the few big fives that we've seen. Okay. Also, if you're in the US, you can actually try using the Cash app. I think Andy tried that. I mean, I can't even use it because I'm not in the US, right? Even PayPal we can't use because it's only available to Americans. So maybe you can try that. So you can see you can sell Bitcoin. Oops. You can sell BTC. BTC stands for Bitcoin, right? Okay, so here is the recovery phrase. So when you download the app and you start it, it's gonna ask you to write down your recovery phrase. So, okay, wake up, guys. This is so important. Okay, these 12 words are so important. If you can lose your phone, you can lose your app, the app can crash, but if you lost these 12 words, your money is going to be lost in cyberspace. Nobody's going to be able to help you.
To the black hole.
There's no customer support. Like you can't call the app and ask them, where did my money go? I forgot my passwords, right? Don't call me. I can't help you because only you would know the 12 words, right? This is so important. And recently there are some news where there's this guy, this programmer in San Francisco. He bought Bitcoin when it was $2, right? Like $2 to $6. And he had like 7,000 Bitcoin or something. And he forgot about it, right? And then recently Bitcoin became like 35K per Bitcoin. And then he became a millionaire already, but he forgot his passwords. So nobody can help him. So it's a sad story. I think he wanted to kill himself. So the way you do this is never screen capture these 12 words on your desktop or on your phone. Write it down. Okay, this is the stupid part. I don't know why they designed it this way. I wish I could redesign it. Get a piece of paper, A4 paper, write down 1 to 12, write down in order 1 to 12, and keep this paper in a safe place. Some people put it in the vault, okay? Just keep it in a safe place and don't lose it, because if you lose it, one day when your app crashes and you forget these 12 words, you won't be able to access your money, okay? Oh, the other really important concept is never, ever leave your money on exchanges. If you notice, a lot of the bad news in the crypto space is because people left their money on exchanges and the exchanges got hacked, Okay. So that's a really important concept. It's because if you don't own the keys, like this is your keys, right? This is your private key, basically. If you don't own it, the money is not yours. So if you leave your money on exchanges, like it's like you putting money like in, you know, those currency exchange shops. It's like you putting money there, right? You know, and then they close down, then your money is gone. Okay.
So can I ask a quick question regarding that? So are you saying if you've got, say, let's say for instance, you've got a coin jar account or something like that, or a Coinbase account, are you saying don't allow them to manage it, take it off?
Yes, stick it in your wallet. So don't leave it on here. Don't leave it on here, which is the exchange. You buy it, don't leave it on here. You need to send the money, it's through a QR code, send it to your wallet. This is the wallet.
Okay.
Okay? It's okay to send it to your wallet. But this is still not the most secure way. Sending to your wallet is like, this is like your checking account, right? The wallet is really for you to use the money frequently, right? It's your checking account. You want it to be in and out all the time. You want to buy some of Ethereum sometime. You want to change it back to US dollars sometime. But the majority of your money should actually be put in what you call a hard wallet.
Yeah.
It's called a cold storage, right? So the most popular one right now is called a ledger. It's like this.
Yep.
Okay, it's like a USB stick, but it's don't confuse the concept. It's not like a USB stick where the money is here, is not here. The reason why this is more secure is because it's not connected to the internet, so nobody can hack it, right? Actually, your computer or your phone can be hacked.
Yep.
But when it's not connected to the internet, it's hard to hack it, right? And in order to send money, you need to physically press the button here to approve sending the money. That's why this is more safe. Okay, so there are different wallets. There's Trezor, there is Ledger, right? These are the two big ones. I personally like Ledger better. What this is like private bank in your hands. So this is like Swiss bank in your hands, right? You know, Swiss bank where it's anonymous? Well, not anymore now. You can't even have that. But this is like your Swiss bank in your own hands. So the whole concept is you are the bank. But we're so conditioned to believe in a third party, like a government and a bank, that right now this whole revolution is flipping everything on its head. So it's a paradigm shift. You are your bank. If you own your money, nobody can take it away. Okay. So
but is there a risk that you used the example before that, you know, the guy threw his computer away, I think you said, or he couldn't find his whatever it was. So if you lose that, then you've basically lost everything. Is that correct?
Well, with increased, how do you say? Yeah, it's increased responsibility on the end user. It's your responsibility to hold your money. And if you forget it, there's nobody who can help you. That's why I think education in this space is so important until somebody comes out with a better solution, right? And because we design a lot of technologies for users, for people, we know like human makes mistakes, right? Like you forget your keys, right? Like even your house keys, sometimes you don't know where you put it. But it's just designed in a way where it's not very lenient to mistakes right now. That's why I ultra emphasize, don't put your money on the exchange and don't forget your 12 words. On Ledger, it's 24 words. Okay. I know it's nerve-wracking, but no pain, no gain, right? If you want to make money, you need to learn this.
I got a question. What if you lose your Ledger and you have your private key? Because I have what's the other one that I have? Keep Key, and which is another hardware cold storage wallet. Now, if I lose that particular device, but I
Yes.
still have my passphrase. If I connect into, I think it's called Shapeshift that at least KeepKey uses, and I get a different wallet, or I lost that one. If I lose the cold hard wallet, physical, drive like you have in your hand,
Yeah.
can I still recover my Bitcoin if I have my key phrase?
Yes. If you have your keys, that's good news. That's why I said the hardware doesn't matter. The phone doesn't matter. The computer doesn't matter. It's the 12 words that matters.
So technically, even if I have it in cold storage, like in the ledger that you have, but you still have your 24 phrase private key, you lose your ledger, and then you go on to say Coinbase wallet, and you input that 24 phrase key, all your Bitcoin would show up.
I think the 2024 is for the ledger, right? The Coinbase wallet has 12. So it's different. Yeah, but you can, okay, let's say you forgot your 12 or 24 word. You can send your money through a QR code to another wallet, right? Like, for example, I just came over here like in January, and all my passwords are in the vault in Hong Kong, right? And I'm like, shit, do I have to fly back to Hong Kong for this? But no, I can actually create another wallet, send the money over. Then I don't need the 12 words, right? Yeah, but
I guess my question was just around, I'm not saying that you lose your private key, you have that, right? But if you lose the physical cold wallet, the cold wallet,
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Because the physical device is just to view the information, view the money, right? The money is actually on the blockchain.
Yeah.
Got it. So if I have, let's say, 2 BTC in my wallet in Coinbase, and I got 20 Bitcoins in my cold storage wallet, but I have 2 separate private keys, but as long as I have those I have those memorized, I can access those BTCs respectively if I go onto another online for one, even if it asks me for it, or if I go to another hard wallet or cold storage wallet.
The keys for Ledger is the keys for Ledger, the 24 words.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I would just have to buy, let's say that I'm somewhere else. I left it in Hong Kong, like you said. I order on Amazon, I get another ledger. I'm in the United States, but I have my 24 phrase key. I can just connect that in and get everything.
Yes. Just don't forget those 12 words. For example, I once went to an ATM machine in Hong Kong, and then I used my my app wallet, right? And as I was doing the transaction, my app crashed. Right? My app crashed. And I mean, I was lucky because I knew about this because my brother's computer science, like he told me about this. So I didn't actually freak out so much. But imagine like you didn't know about this and you're like, holy shit, like my app crashed. And then you think your money is in the app. It's not. So what you have to do is just download another app, right? And then, have re-download the same app and then have the get the 12 words, type it in, and it'll what we call reinitiate the wallet, and you'll see the amount there. Okay. All right. So we're getting to 1.5 hours. So like after I sent money to you, for example, on your app, you'll see something called the transaction ID. You can go to blockchain.com, type in search transaction ID. You'll actually see the transaction being confirmed or processing on this, public ledger. But because it's all numbers and there's no attachment to my name and who this belongs to, who this belongs to, then that's why it's anonymous, but it's trackable. Okay. So something really important to remember is not your keys, not your money. That's why some people say, well, what if I buy an ETF, Bitcoin ETF, and a third party help me buy? The thing is, if your private keys are not with you, the other party can't actually run away with your money. Of course, if it's really big organizations, maybe they won't do that. But keep in mind, this whole revolution is about getting rid of middlemen, right? So why do you still want a middleman if you can do it without a middleman? Plus, for example, I invested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency directly, and I've also invested in the blockchain fund in Israel. I myself actually outperformed the fund because the fund not only did it not perform as well, it also takes a huge cut in fees, like 20-30% of fees. Yeah. So you just need to weigh it out. Like some people, they don't want the hassle, then they don't mind paying that premium for somebody to help manage. But like I said, it's like AOL in the early days, right? There's more hand holding. There's more peace of mind if you find a third party, but the whole purpose of this movement is to decentralize and have no middlemen, okay? But the technology right now is not as user-friendly as it should be. So I think, over the years, maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to improve. Okay, many people ask, is it a good time to buy now? Okay. Okay, again, disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just my own opinion. I see a lot of my friends, like when I was talking about it, like back maybe 2 years ago when it was like 3,500, when it was 8,000, when it was like 18K, and actually the more people wait, the higher it went, right? And then people were like debating about, oh, like the fees are so high, in this and that. And I'm like, if I hear the big picture, okay, if I hear the big picture, I actually, if you see the big picture of where it's going, which I believe it's a financial revolution and an internet Web 3.0 revolution, I actually I won't fret about the minor things. It's like if you invested in Amazon, like, 15 years ago, would you worry about like the 5%, like 10%, or like, yeah, 1 second. 我講緊 talk 啊，一陣先啦。OK， 好好。好，你去。OK。Okay, sorry. Yeah, so if you see the big picture, then you probably will be less freaked out about the whole thing, right? And for me, I look at the long term. I don't look at day trading. If you look at day trading, I think you'll have a heart attack because it's like roller coaster, right? It can go up a few thousand and like go back down a few thousand. But it just comes with the nature of cryptocurrency right now because it's very early stages and people are very freakish about it because they don't understand technology. Okay, so here's the twins that the two twins that went against Mark Zuckerberg, right? So the way he calculates it is so the twins opened up Gemini, the exchange, right? So the way he calculates it is if you can equate Bitcoin to digital gold, because it has all the properties of gold and excels it, right? So gold currently has a market cap of $9 trillion, $9 to $11 trillion. And Bitcoin actually at the time of this video is only 300 billion. Now it's 700 billion, like in just a matter of months, right? So if you equate that, then that means that Bitcoin has the potential of growing to replace gold, which it will probably increase to like 25 to 30 times increase, maybe a little less now because it's 700 billion already. That's how they calculate that Bitcoin could be worth let's see. Yeah, that's why some people have predicted that it could go up to 100,000 per Bitcoin or even 1 million Bitcoin, okay? Because right now we're up to 88% being issued, and every single day there's 900 Bitcoin being mined. And if you look at the Grayscale Trust, they have already outbought the number of Bitcoin that has been mined. So assuming that one Bitcoin is around 40K, and Grayscale Bitcoin Trust has bought 600,000 BTC, right? So it means that it's worth 24 billion, okay? Yeah, so this is December 2020, the number of Bitcoin mined is 2,800, but Grayscale already outbought like 2.5 times more than what is available. Actually, there's a Twitter link where you can go. It's called the Whale Alert. Whale means big fishes, right? As if like this cryptocurrency sea, the whales are the big money that's coming in, and you can, because it's on the blockchain, you can actually see, like, for example, like 2 hours ago, somebody bought 49,000 Bitcoin worth 400 million US dollar from where to where, right? You can actually see it, right? You can actually see what's going on. So that's called a whale alert. And you can see like if money is going from which exchange to which wallet, but you don't know who it is. That's how it's anonymous but trackable. Okay. So people are like, oh, should I buy Bitcoin? I'm so worried. I'm so scared. I mean, I personally think if you're worried, just put 1% of your portfolio. 1%. Okay. That's it. And if you can take a little bit more risk, maybe 2%, 5%, 10%. I personally have 40% of my portfolio in cryptocurrencies right now, because I'm really bullish about it, and that's just my personal belief, and because I've done a lot of research on this. But like I said, do your own research, make your own judgment, because different people have different risk tolerances, right? And it depends on your portfolio, your asset allocation as well. Remember, you're your own private bank, and it's your responsibility to make sure you don't lose your keys, and your responsibility to do your homework. Yeah, this is one of the news that came out 2 days ago. People who take this lightly will lose their money because they didn't pay attention, right, to what's important. Okay, so to end, Warren Buffett says risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. And this is a funny slide. It's called just hold it, hodl it, right? HODL. Actually, a few years ago, some people like in the cryptocurrency community did a typo. Instead of HOLD, hold, wrote HODL, and what it means now is it's hold on for dear life. So because it's so volatile, so like recently it went to 40K and then it came back down to like 30, 32, 33K. But if you hold it long enough, our thesis is actually gonna increase a lot.